1, 2, 1, 2. Test. Hey folks, thanks for joining the live stream. We'll be starting here in about 5-10 minutes or so. We're just getting wrapped up some food. Part of the beauty of coming to live events, we got food, we got networking. Just gonna do a little quick spin around the room so you can see that there are real people here. Hey everybody, welcome. We got more people on this side. Hello friends. Cool. So if you're ever interested in coming to an event, we do these monthly, so feel free to check us out. But for right now, stay at home, stay cozy. See you soon. Do you have a long power cord for this last time? That's only it's just whatever fits in that whole. As long as it's, do you have like a plug, like a skinny plug? That would work. But if it's smaller than the lid, it just might have still too big. Out of it. Well, beggars can't be choosers. Got battery. That's all I need.
Is that centered? That's centered?
Yep. I appreciate that.
I've seen it happen.
I'm sure I will.
I've done speeches for people who are
Now you're
running stuff
responsible
and
for
it
this quarter inch. What's here? There? Yeah. Yeah, at the end of the day, I'm not going
You're so busy like running around like Yeah, they say that. Some people have a visual. Yeah, mine's a time. I won't get upset if it's in a job, but sometimes I've had people get upset when I put the dot in. Things are
No. We'll get started here in about 3 minutes, so just keep on going. 2 more minutes, and we'll kick things off. Me? Yeah, okay. There. Just awkward. Cool. Alrighty, y'all. Let's get this thing started. Yeah, my mic does not. It's cutting in and out. It's not good. Okay, cool.
This is two fools.
Oh,
wait.
Here we go. 1, 2.
Oh.
2. I wonder if this is the wrong channel. 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Hello. Nope. All right, we're using your mic.
Okay, sounds good.
Yep, there we go. Cool. That's all. That's shitty. 1, 2, 1, 2.
So, hi, this is Two Fools with Mike, also known as GDT Chicago. Welcome.
Let me turn off the mood music.
The mood music made it. Anyways, welcome. Big turnout. I like this. This is fantastic. I'm Dan. I've been helping to run this shindig for way too long.
Hey everybody, I'm Joel. I'm also a co-organizer with Dan. I'm Joel. I'm co-organizer with Dan. So, let's just get started. So again, Wi-Fi password, first order of business. If you have to use the bathroom, we're not going to hold you captive. There's a bathroom on the other side of this wall. So just swing around back, yeah. So it's around this corner, around the back. Try not to walk in the front here because there's actually a live stream. Hello, folks on the live stream. So I think we have about 15 to 20 people tuning in. So thank you for attending in person, huge crowd, or also attending virtually. We try to do this to make it accessible for everyone. Not recognizing not everyone can make it in. So thank you for coming out in numbers. Awesome. So, if I can get my mouse over here. Cool. So why are we here? We are here to talk about Google Cloud Next and Cloud Next Extended, which occurred last week, or 2 weeks ago now, in Las Vegas, April 9th through the 11th. Yeah. So we have an awesome group of panelists today. Just a slight update. One of our panelists dropped out at the last minute, but we found another equivalent awesome panelist in Burma. So thank you for jumping in last minute. So we'll introduce everyone here in a second. So I'm sorry Logan couldn't make it, but he does extend that he wished he could make it. There's just a lot of stuff on his plate, as you can imagine.
He said something about a launch. I don't know what he's launching.
Oh,
That could be good things.
You might want to check the Google blog tomorrow and see maybe there's something that he launches.
We literally have no idea. No, use the word launch.
Yeah, big product launch coming up, so we'll see. So I guess the first thing, this beautiful building, some of the food and the drinks were sponsored by a company known as Tag, the beautiful offices that we're here now. Want to give them a shout out and thank you so much for hosting us. They are a few brands, Well Now, Coaches, I gotta update the slide. I also work there. Well Now, Chapter, Motto, Now Love It. They have a vet downstairs, as well as Aspen and ClickChoice. So a great company that's medical, from dentistry all the way to taking care of pets. It's a pretty big powerhouse with some awesome tech people. So come out, check us out. I know a few folks are actually hiring too, which is, if you're looking for a role, check out the career sites. So how to get to know about these events, check it out. I don't know, X, Twitter, whatever it's called now. There's a meetup as well, and as well as the how you signed up for this event, the web links, what's it called?
The community.dev site.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That helps us with the folks that we have, that help sponsor these events from Google. So thank you, folks, for making this possible. Cool. What's next? Just want to go through a quick comment.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Cool. So essentially, just be excellent to one another. As a diverse community, learning from one another. If you see something, say something. Let us know. If something's up, we're here. If Joel's harassing you, let me know. If I'm harassing somebody, let Joel know. If both of us are harassing somebody, I guess let Carl know, because he can get us in more trouble. Practicing yes and to each other. Aim to add to the conversation. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I think this is important. Community, learning from one another. Some of us are Google folks, some of us are Microsoft folks, some of us are Oracle Cloud folks. We're all technologists here trying to learn. Some of us are in school and some of us are professionals. We're all here just to learn from one another. There we go. Just giving another shout out for another event coming up soon. We have Google I/O in now almost 2-3 weeks. So man, it's coming up. So Google I/O is another event. It's kind of Google's like developer-y kind of event, more so focused like whereas next is more like infrastructure and data. I would say. I mean, Dan, how would you describe I/O?
Do you want my true statements?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
So Google I/O is the developer event. It's more able to show off the APIs, but the marketing side of it will be a big part of the keynote, is what I feel like.
Yeah.
Not like,
It's still a developer keynote.
yeah. This is developer keynote, but it's very heavy, like, look at our new Android stuff.
Yeah. They used to announce like phones and stuff.
I know,
Now they
they
just
used to.
kind of announce. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's still a good event. So
It's fun to watch.
Yeah.
You know, it's a great flagship event.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely a lot of it. It's pretty cool.
I'm just jaded and old.
Cool. So while you're all here, you're gonna watch me present 229 reasons why you should use Google Cloud. No, I'm kidding. This is so every year they do this awesome recap. So I put a QR code. Hopefully that works. Or fingers crossed. Basically, they announce like all the things that what's new and next. They break it down by infrastructure. They break it down by Kubernetes. They break it down by compute, data, Vertex. However you will. That is going to spawn a lot of the questions here today, but I am certainly not going to bore you to death by just reading a blog post, but it's definitely a good blog post. Before we kick off, I think we should do you want to do the 10-minute just recap video? Yeah. So Google puts out this keynote in 10 minutes, so we want to just maybe start with this and see how, just kind of level set and set the mood and some of the announcements, and then kick it off. So let's. I'm going to go tune this up a little bit.
Hello everyone, welcome to Google Cloud Next. Just 1 year ago, we stood here and talked about the future of AI for organizations. Today, that future is being built by all of us. In 2024, we shipped more than 3,000 product advances across Google Cloud and Workspace. Google's AI momentum is exciting. We're seeing more than 4 million developers using Gemini, a 20 times increase in Vertex AI usage last year, and over 2 billion AI assists monthly to business users right within Google Workspace. Here next, we'll be sharing over 500 customer stories, showcasing real business innovation. Let's hear more from a special guest. A warm welcome for the CEO of Google and Alphabet, Sundar Pichai.
With Google Cloud, we see AI as the most important way we can help advance your mission. Today, I'm pleased to announce that we are making Google's global private network available to enterprises around the world. Cloud Brand leverages Google's Planet Scale network. Today, I'm proud to announce our 7th generation TPU, Ironwood, is coming later this year. It's the most powerful chip we have ever built and will enable the next frontier of AI models. Compared to our first publicly available TPU, Ironwood achieves 3,600 times better performance. Gemini 2.5 Pro is now available for everyone in AI Studio, Vertex AI, and in the Gemini app. I'm also excited to announce Gemini 2.5 Flash, our low latency and most cost-efficient model with thinking built in. With 2.5 Flash, you can control how much the model reasons and balance performance with your budget.
And customers around the world are choosing to work with Google for 3 important reasons. First, Google Cloud offers an AI-optimized platform with leading price, performance, precision, and quality. And new today, everything you need to build and manage multi-agent systems. Second, Google Cloud offers an open multi-cloud platform that allows you to adopt AI agents while connecting them with your existing IT landscape. And third, Google Cloud offers an enterprise-ready AI platform built for interoperability.
Demand for AI compute for training and inference is growing at an unprecedented rate. Anywhere cache keeps data close to your accelerators, with up to 70% improvement in storage latency to reduce training time. All of these AI hypercomputer hardware and software enhancements together enable us to deliver more intelligence or useful AI output at a consistently low price. Today, we are announcing that Gemini can run on Google Distributed Cloud locally in air-gapped environments, as well as connected environments. And Google is an important partner for Google and our customers. Let's hear directly from CEO Jensen Huang.
Google Distributed Cloud with Gemini and NVIDIA are going to bring state-of-the-art AI to the world's regulated industries and countries. Now, if you can't come to the cloud, Google Cloud will bring AI to you.
Today, I'm pleased to announce 3 new innovations for Gemini Workspace. Help me analyze in Google Sheets, which guides you through your data, audio overviews in Google Docs, where you can interact with Docs, and Google Workspace flows to help you automate time-consuming, repetitive tasks and to make decisions with more context. With Gemini, imagine, Chirp, Lyria, and Veo, Google is the only company that offers generative media models across all modality. And all of them are available to you today on Vertex AI. Vertex AI gives you easy access to over 200 curated foundation models in model partners. Let's hear from Deutsche Bank CEO Christian Severi.
Our partnership with Google Cloud enables us to take advantage of the latest tools. DB Lumina is our AI-powered research agent, built on Gemini and Vertex AI.
Now let's talk about agents. Agents are intelligent systems that show reasoning, planning, memory, and the ability to use tools. A great example of a company working with Google Cloud to develop agents is Salesforce. Let's hear from CEO Mark Benioff.
Right now, we are really at the start of the biggest shift any of us have ever seen in our careers. I'll tell you, that's why we are so excited about Agentforce and our expanded partnership now with Google.
Now, following the introduction of Vertex AI Agent Builder last year, we're announcing today a new agent development kit. It is a new open source framework that simplifies the process of building sophisticated multi-agent systems. Agent Development Kit supports the Model Context Protocol, which provides a unified way for AI models to access and interact with various data sources and tools. We're also introducing a new agent-to-agent protocol that allows agents to communicate with each other regardless of the underlying model and framework. We're putting AI agents in the hands of every employee with Google Agent Space.
Customer agents built with Vertex AI Search are helping customers to quickly find answers and the right products using both text and images in search queries. Let's hear from Reddit Chief Product Officer, Holly Bott.
Reddit Answers is different from any other generative AI product on the market. It leverages Vertex AI Search to make finding the answers and perspectives people seek faster and more relevant.
Customer Engagement Suite is transforming customer service. The business impact that Verizon experienced is nothing short of extraordinary. Today, we're announcing our next generation of Customer Engagement Suite, which will include human-like voices, comprehension, and the ability to understand emotions, and integration with data sources, CRM systems, and popular business messaging platforms. Let's talk about creative agents that are being used to superpower creative teams, including those in media production, marketing, advertising, design, and more. One of the most amazing examples is the enriching of the Wizard of Oz at the Las Vegas Sphere, and how Veo 2 helped to bring it to life.
We knew that it was really hard to tackle using traditional means, but it is possible to do it with AI.
We ultimately came to the conclusion that Google was the only company that was actually capable of doing this.
Alongside Google's DeepMind researchers, we trained AI models so that when you see Dorothy dancing, you see her full body dancing, down to her ruby slippers.
Data agents know what data to utilize and what questions to ask. Our data platform, BigQuery, has 5 times more customers than the 2 leading independent data cloud companies. And today, we're announcing new code assist agents to help with everything from modernizing code to help you with the full software development lifecycle.
Security agents can dramatically increase the speed and effectiveness of security analysts. The integration of AI across our security products is just one reason why organizations around the world are making Google part of their security team. We're introducing Google Unified Security. Google Unified Security brings together unmatched visibility, faster threat detection, AI-powered security operations, continuous virtual red teaming, the most trusted browser, and Mandiant expertise in one converged security solution running on a planet-scale data fabric.
We're continuing to invest in our security offerings, and just last month we signed a definitive agreement to acquire Wiz, a leading multi-cloud security platform to provide better cybersecurity alternatives for businesses and governments around the world. We're delivering an amazing stream of new innovations and making it easy to integrate those innovations into your existing technology landscape. We do this in 4 important ways. First, connecting your clouds with other clouds and applications. Second, we're working with many leading ISVs to integrate them with Google AI. Third, our services partners have created thousands of agents that bring their deep understanding of your industry and existing IT systems. Fourth, we're enabling sovereign clouds with partners to meet international regulations. We at Google Cloud are committed to helping each of you innovate by delivering the leading enterprise-ready AI-optimized platform with the best infrastructure, leading models, tools, and agents by offering an open, multi-cloud platform, building for interoperability so we can speed up time to value from your AI investments. What an amazing time for all of us to experience and work with these technology advances. We are honored to be building this new way to cloud with each of you. Thank you so much for joining us for Google Cloud Next.
Cool. That's cool. Yeah, so as you can see, a lot of stuff. I think, I wrote a little prediction article myself before going to Cloud Next, and I think one of the things I hypothesized was we're going to see a lot more practical AI. And what I mean by that is, I don't know how we all felt, but if I saw another chatbot labeled as an AI implementation, I would scream. So we're finally starting to see, more than just tossing a chatbot on a website. We're actually tossing about, we're looking at how do we integrate, our data? How do we integrate our images? How do we generate images that don't even exist? How do we put an elephant in a pink tutu dress on the moon dancing, for whatever reason why that would exist, but just generating things that don't even exist, but generate some level of value, even ads or things of that nature. So practical AI and seeing how this is being used was actually a pretty cool thing to see. But with that being said, we have some great panelists that we want to include today. So if I could have my panelists, Nitin, Carl, Wayne, and JC, come on up and maybe introduce yourselves. I don't know where y'all want to sit, so you guys can raise the seat that sits next to me. Maybe Nitin, actually, since you don't have a mic. Yeah. Cool. I'm going to hand you the mic in, and maybe you want to introduce yourselves to the crowd and then just pass it down.
Sounds good. Hello everyone, my name is Nitin. I just recently joined TAG as a VP of AI Innovation. I have prior experience in the e-commerce space. Have gone through a lot of journeys around data science, machine learning, software engineering. So excited to kind of bring a lot of those experiences and apply in TAG context. Thank you.
Yeah, pass it on down.
I don't think it's working.
It's not working? Is it on? Little switch?
It is. It's off.
Hold
How
on.
about now? Any better? No?
Oh.
No,
maybe.
Any better?
Oh.
A little bit better? All right, I'll hold it.
Oh, let's just pass the mic down.
Yeah, that's fine. All right, I'll deal with this later. All right, hello everyone.
Is it off?
No, that should have been on. It says on.
Is it on?
Oh.
Oh.
There
we go.
Huh. This one's not.
Let me turn this one off. Let me see.
You guys
There you go.
There we go. Okay, so apparently it's a channel problem.
Yeah.
So hello everyone. My name is Carl Franklin. I am a director of enterprise architecture and professional services at Google. I work in Google Cloud. I work with a lot of Fortune 500 companies, helping them implement Google Cloud.
Can everyone hear me okay? Yeah. Oh, it sounds like it's working. All right, so my name's Wayne Taylor, Senior Director of Data Platform. I've worked at TAG for 3 years. I am hiring, so I do have some data engineering roles open. We have a manager of data engineering that's just going to open up. We have a data operations role in there and a DBA. So anyone who wants to speak to me either afterwards or gently raise your hand. Come and speak to us. We have plenty of roles open. Hello. You can't hear me at all.
It did work a second
ago.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe you got to pull up a little bit.
All right. I guess I need to hold this up a little bit closer, but I think what you missed is I'm hiring. So if you want to come and speak to me afterwards,
And on the live stream.
Yes. I'm for the live stream. You can also contact me via LinkedIn. Wayne Taylor. There you go.
Hello. Does this work? Yep. Awesome. Sorry. Hello, everyone. I'm JC Escalante. I'm the global head of generative AI at Ipsos, the largest independent market research company in the world, and I'm excited to be here with all of you.
So we're going to just pass this down. So, we kind of did a 10-minute there on like Cloud Next, and that's good. The content's good. A lot of marketing stuff there too. A lot of customer journeys. But, I think everyone here actually attended Cloud Next this year. I'm just kind of curious, like, what's a takeaway that you saw from Cloud Next that you want to share with the audience, whether it was a theme, whether it was an announcement, or just a moment? Like, so maybe then can I start with you and just pass it down?
Yeah, I mean, I think you folks have obviously kind of heard a lot about agentic AI, but as what was shown in the conference, the framework that are becoming more mature, it's a lot of systems is going to be developed based on the agentic AI in the coming years. And what Google during the conference was shown, I think that kind of made it more real to me personally. Obviously, there were lots and lots of attendees as well. There's a significant interest. So really is an exciting time, especially for all engineers, to kind of thinking this is the next wave. I've seen wave of how the technologies and how we have built systems over the years, right? Service-oriented architecture to microservices and event-driven, and kind of this is the next wave. And I think this is the beginning of that multi-agent systems, how will be built over the coming years. And that became very real to me through this conference.
Okay, so, excuse me, as I mentioned, I'm more of an architect, so through the keynote, I think one of the things I loved was the layer diagram that TK introduced, which really helps to simplify some of the complications that Google has put out there in the market. So I know it was shown very quickly on the slide there, but basically it's a 4-tier structure. You have AI infrastructure, which is sort of TPU chips and foundational components. So this is where your infrastructure engineers and maybe your, like your GKE experts are working. The next level up are the foundational models. So this is a place where you can either use the models that are available, import other models from other vendors to bring in for you to use, or if you have TensorFlow type engineers, et cetera, you're building your own models. So, those hardcore sort of Go programmers might wind up at that model layer. The next layer up is the Vertex AI layer, which is, I guess I'm trying to think now. This is the one layer I'm not exactly sure what the name of it is, but it's basically where
the majority of, say, Python or Java coders are using APIs and using components of Google to construct AI components, assemble AI search pieces, etc. So the majority of sort of what we would consider modern AI development, I think, is happening at that third tier. But over the last 18 months, we've obviously talked a lot about sort of prompt engineering and sort of no-code style stuff, and that's what's winding up to the fourth tier, which is that agent tier, which is you're doing more of working with pre-built components out of it, the agent garden, which they just mentioned, introduced. And you're doing prompt engineering and creating agents at that level, which are a little bit more no-code driven. So I like that approach of having that four-tier structure of an infrastructure. You have your hardcore AI engineers, you have your mid-level AI engineers that are sort of assembling applications, and then you have your prompt engineers. And that was a long answer, but that was the part that I took away the most.
I don't know which one's going to work. I'm going to turn this one off. So I think there was a few takeaways I had. I think the first one is there was a lot of great AI announcements, but I think the accessibility to everyone is really where I saw the big game changers, to the point where I think AI a few years ago was very confusing to people, and it seemed really hard to wrap your head around it, and it's getting to the point now where the tools are just coming so much easier. There's so many different variety of products out there, and also like just being able to, I mean, one of the things that blew my mind is on the stage they were generating music on the fly, and I mean it was really good music and video content, and it was just like, wow, this is like literally you just put a few things in, have a general conversation as if you're just having a chat with your best friend, and it's generating music on the fly. And I was like, wow, this is really, really powerful. I think the second thing I learned is Joel and I have been trying to submit talks for Next for probably 5+ years. This is the first time we never submitted one, and then I got asked to speak at Cloud Next. So, that's a moral of the story.
So I guess for me the key takeaway for this last year is when I think about the last 3 years, I think 2023 was all about what is the art of the possible. 2024 was about, oh, this stuff seems to be working, it's pretty cool. 2025 is where things got very serious, meaning now we finally have the tools, the frameworks, the processes, the blueprints, the start to actually scale and bring some of these applications into production in an enterprise setting. And that's the key takeaway that I had for 2025. Like, it felt like a really well-rounded, okay, finally I understand what is the entire landscape of tools and everything that I need to actually make things work beyond a simple POC.
Yeah, let me see. I think I got this working here. Give me one.
Not so sure.
No, there you go. I got it. Don't worry. All right, cool. We do things on the fly here. We generate our audio here. Cool. So those are all great takeaways. And I guess, Wayne, one question for you, specifically, like, what did you presented, I believe, on Cloud SQL and Enterprise Plus. So, like, for a traditional infrastructure engineer who's like, let's say, the last 20 years you've been a SQL engineer. What are you seeing kind of, what is Enterprise Plus bringing to the table? And then more importantly, like, is there, how are you seeing like AI being built into the platform? So it's really two questions.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty loaded question, but I'm actually going to use an example. So sadly on Friday, many of us in this room were actually on the bridge. We had a priority 1 outage, like our main database was down. We didn't know why it was down, but it was down. And we were getting this random error message in the logs. And like one of the key features that has been added in from Gemini is, tell me more about this log line. So I'm literally on a bridge in real time, just clicked on the button, and it literally gave me like what felt like an A4 sheet of paper of this is the error reason, this is what it means, these are the next steps. I didn't even need to think through like the basics of troubleshooting, I was able to tell my team, I need you to do A, B, and C things without really having to think it through. So I felt that was huge. The other thing too, that really trying to think through of examples that were really important to me. So one of the teams that I manage is the database infrastructure team. And we make a lot of changes. And one of them is like frequent things like patching, upgrades, and things like that. And in the past, I'd have to, well, my team would have to go to change planning meeting, go through change, get it planned and authorized. Sometimes, especially when you're taking databases down, like that can take a week or two to get the approvals. One of the announcements that they had at Next is sub-second changes. So literally, live, click the button, click on resize, 1 second later, your instance is there. So now I'm gone from maybe having to do something on a weekend where there's low traffic or no one's on the database to now not even really having to really think through, am I going to do it this weekend or 3 o'clock in the morning? I could do that when the office is closed, or I could do it just before they close, or maybe we could do it during the day if worst push comes to shove. Like, we have those options now, so I think that was huge. There's a lot of other things in there from, I mean, we use query sites as another option. So query insights, for those that have never used the query insights product from Google, really is giving you insights into what is literally happening on your database right now. And we are a huge SQL Server shop, and we leverage IDEA. And that tool was not hidden in the macros. The query insights tool shows us anything that's running on there. But not only does it show us what's running on there, like some of the new features in the product, how do I make this better? I didn't even need a team to start digging into why is this query slow. Literally, I mean, Daniel, I don't think he's here, but a few weeks ago we were working with him on AlloyDB, looking at a query that we wanted to optimize. And you didn't have to come to me. It was literally click of a button and it gave an optimization straight away. That query is now running 33 times faster than it was before. I didn't have to do something, Daniel didn't have to do something. The AI just told us what we needed to do.
Yeah, extremely powerful. And I kind of, this isn't a real database, it's kind of one for their product demos, but imagine you kind of work in a spot and someone says, hey, something happened, right? And it's like, well, all I know is that this query is definitely consuming most of the load. So odds are, if you have to optimize something, what do? We look at probably what's consuming the load, or what's causing a lock, or what's causing things to hammer down. So yeah, definitely query insights has been huge to see, and especially on our SQL Server.
Yes.
It is a challenge in itself, and it takes an army of strong, talented people. So there's definitely.
I think the other thing to go on this is before, sometimes like query optimization was kind of a task you took on the side, spoke with the DBAs, and now the whole of our developers have access to this tool. So it's not kind of like making it open, transparent to everyone. Go and take a look in there, see if your queries look on there. Take a look at the recommendations, see how you can do it yourself, so now being more proactive instead of a knee-jerk reaction.
So I guess on that, just maybe shifting a little bit higher in the stack, like Carl, I know you spoke at Cloud Next about enterprise architecture and kind of how to build on it, and honestly, the field's evolving, right? Gen AI is moving so quickly. So with AI moving so fast, and cloud native now is basically kind of the norm. How do you see like an architect's role shifting in organizations in the future or even today?
Microphone. Forgot. All right, there we go.
So I mean, the one of the takeaways for me from Google Cloud Next is we're not really thinking of things as Lego block components in the cloud as much anymore as providing AI capabilities. Now it's a different set of Legos, but it's a higher level of abstraction of Legos. And as an architect, it's not something that you can ignore. It's not something that's going away. So you have to figure out how do you bring in both the opportunities to leverage AI to make your job faster, but how do you bring that to your business users, to your consumers? So a lot of what's going to evolve in architecture, which is a trend that's already been underway, is better understanding your users and your business environments and understanding what it is that they need to accomplish. So it's a lot less about what are the lines of Python I need to write, or what is the SQL statement I need to work on. It's not even really the matter of what's the AI product they need, but like what is ultimately going to make that end user more efficient and more productive in what they're trying to accomplish. And then how do you build an architecture around that? So it's really moving much more and faster from the technical space into more of a business space. And a lot of what I spend my time on, and I've spent 30 years doing consulting, I spend the majority of my time trying to understand my customers' strategic initiatives and their business goals, as opposed to worrying about the technology. The technology is the easy part for me. Understanding what the business is trying to accomplish is the harder part, and ultimately AI's goal is to make the business part easier for them too. So a lot of what I need to adapt to, a lot of what architects working at either a solution level or an enterprise level need to be focused on is how do we give our organization stronger business value, which AI should be helping us with that, but more importantly, how are we making the lives of our end users easier, more efficient? How are we creating UXs on top of our architecture that are intuitive and help everyone's tasks that they want to accomplish? So it's an interesting pivot because I don't think as much about databases, I don't think as much about data mesh or the programming languages that I work on as much, or the number of cores, or managed instance groups to scale. I'm much more worried about what is the problem my customer wants to solve, my end user needs, and how do I design a solution that's optimized to get them the right answer in the right speed that they want.
Yeah, that's extremely important, because I mean, that's really what, everything we do, even without AI, is we're trying to deliver business value, or ultimately customer impact to make them want to use the platform more, or adopt or keep using your system. So agreed. So kind of pivoting to that, and I know JC started a little bit passing it over to JC. So JC, I know you kind of are at the Ipsos. So like, question for you. So like, from Cloud Next, how do you take, what announcements do you feel you saw that you can take back and say, you know what, this is something that I think is an immediate use case for a real world challenge, whether real or fictional? Like, what got you excited from a real world example?
So at my company, we have very long tail use cases, and we're a very decentralized company. We have offices in 87 countries. We have hundreds of development teams. So the announcement that I was most excited about that applies for my setting is the completeness of vision and the ability to execute that all of us get with Agent Space plus Agent Engine plus the ADK, because that gives us a way to really democratize access to agents. It doesn't matter if it's first-party agent or a third-party agent. It doesn't matter if you're a non-technical user or a developer. With Agent Space, like non-technical users get the ability to discover agents that somebody else built. They get a no-code environment or low-code environment to deploy simple agents for simple tasks. While developers with Agent Engine and ADK, they get the control that they need to work with their preferred framework, to work with their preferred model, and to deploy those agents in a structure or in a framework that provides the governance and the central management that we need in the enterprise. So when you combine them all together, you get kind of the force multiplier that we needed to really bring AI into the day-to-day work of knowledge workers. So those three combined was the key to me.
Yeah, I think there's a lot, especially with agentic AI kind of becoming the new hotness, and it's been there for a while now. And I think just seeing people adopt it and having a standard way of getting started. I think that's always the hardest part with like an emerging or a growing technology is, all right, I hear it, I see it, how do I do it? And how do I deploy it? But with that, and again, we're gonna pass it on now, we didn't. So like on that question, like, you know, agentic AI, like, where do you see like immediate value with like agentic AI agents? Like, is it internal automation, support workflows, and then ultimately like at enterprise scale, what are some hurdles to kind of getting adoption? And like, you know, AI agents, is that like a new thing in the industry? Have you know, give us your perspective.
Yeah, I think in terms of adoption, it's across all layers. It really depends on the companies and where they are, right? Companies who are somewhat earlier in their, let's say, AI ML maturity, it's more of, let's say, more safe use cases, right? Back-end use cases around back-end optimization and workflow optimization, versus you know, companies which are somewhat more ahead. They have done some prior implementation of the AI that was available. You know, 2 years ago, there was lots of kind of retrieval augmentation-based technologies, and before that, machine learning and so on, right? So companies that have gone through those journey, you know, they would obviously have the right kind of ecosystem to take on more ambitious use cases, but also that will drive bigger value. So it really is a function of the maturity of the company itself. In terms of the hurdle and specifically as it comes to the agentic AI, I think you kind of called out the biggest aspect here. Like any new technology or recently new technology, it's mostly about demystifying education across the kind of organization, especially when it comes to any AI solution or agentic-based AI solution. They are highly cross-functional nature. So to me, it is a lot about democratization and demystification, which means a lot of learning and development opportunity, and folks kind of get to try those technologies, and it becomes more real. It becomes, you know, the kind of the unknown becomes less of unknown and more of known. So it's going maturing, so progressing through that maturity curve is what really the big hurdle. And so enabling it, accelerating that learning is really the key to unlock this.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you're looking to get started, right? I mean, everyone wants to just jump in and think, oh, we got ChatGPT, we're AI, right? No, like, I think there's definitely a lot, and especially, you know, kind of combining what Carl was mentioning, even like understanding the business impact as to why we are doing this to begin with, right? Once you have that focus, because you have to have a focus, you can't just start with you know, with just a generic use case. But with that being said, one question I had, and also then just kind of following up, like, it's maybe a little bit of a loaded question. Now, look, we have Microsoft, we have Google, we have AWS. How do you feel about, like, how ready is the current ecosystem for like enterprise adoption? Like, is this the time for us to kind of adopt? Are there still risks? And then really, what are, you know, how do we kind of, from a perspective of everyone has pilots in mind, do you feel that we're at a point where these pilots can become reality and they become core business functions versus add-ons to like an existing solution?
Yeah, I think this, as Carl just mentioned, right? You heard from that kind of just a conference. There's a development across full stack, and all that maturity is happening across the full stack, right? 10 years ago, or more than 10 years ago, 12 years ago, people would do a lot of feature engineering by hand until a lot of the unlock happened through deep learning, right? Similarly, over the years, the technology, the methodologies are maturing, and what you would notice is the life cycle of this is shrinking, right? Now, the 5-year-old technology would feel like a tech debt, right? 5 years ago, it was 10 years old technology would feel like a tech debt. So the technology is evolving so fast, and so to me, it is more important where the puck is going. And through these conferences that you see and all the developments that is happening in Google and Amazon or Google or any other places, right? The ecosystem is evolving very fast, and there are real tangible use cases. I mean, there are 500 customers that were, you know, showcased during the conference itself. So knowing that, as I was stating earlier, over the next 2 to 3 year time frame, the way the software will be done, will be adopted, that is going to be very different. And so to me, it is more about having a view of where the puck is going and kind of being ready for it. And in terms of, to me, so it's not just POC, it is actually production and enterprise grade scale. There are a few other important aspects of it. It's not really technology. As again, Carl mentioned, it's actually connecting the dots, having understanding of some interdisciplinary skills. What are the business priorities? What are the kind of use cases and so on, right? How do you really drive value? How do you drive adoption? How do you maintain this? How do you continuously evolve this? AI solutions in general are not like a traditional software solution where you can just build and keep it in run mode. Things drift. These are kind of self-learning systems, so you have to kind of maintain and evolve it. And if it's really part of your kind of core differentiation, then you have to kind of take extra effort behind it. So I would say the building blocks for making enterprise-grade systems are there. A lot of the leading companies are already doing it. It's essentially, I would say, interdisciplinary, cross-functional understanding across the companies, and putting the best of kind of different skills to build the right enterprise solution is really kind of key to building these solutions and make it kind of enterprise grade.
100%. I think, again, just understand, I think, can these cloud providers scale to it? Yes. I mean, they all have built-in platforms, but at the end of the day, it's what we do with these and how we access them. And kind of passing it back to JC, you mentioned agents and, the concept of, agent-to-agent protocol. Like, at a high level, I know probably a lot of us maybe have heard of it. There was definitely mentioned a few minutes ago in that video. But what are agents? Like, what are AI agents, and like, why should we be excited for A2A? Like, what is like an A2A, an ADK?
So the way I think about this is that an agent has at least 4 main components. One of them is access to tools. The other one is a reasoning plan or a reasoning context. And then the third component, maybe we have a slide.
I'm just queuing you up.
The third component will be memory, whether it's short-term memory or long-term memory. And then finally, we have a way to interact with with other agents, and that's where the agent-to-agent protocol comes in. The use cases that we're working on in the insights industry, the way we're thinking about evolving those use cases will require many different agents talking to each other. And that's where the agent-to-agent protocol kicks in. I have not used it. I saw it. I was excited. I think it solves, it closes a gap that we just didn't really know how we were going to approach it. But the way we're thinking about the evolution of our services as a company in market research is that we could see how a lot of our services, underlying services, will be wrapped around specialized agents, and then we will be able to move from, I guess, this paradigm of, we were before in a software as a service type of paradigm. Now will be service as a software, where an agent is wrapping the service. And I'm super excited to give it a try.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I saw, I believe, well, first off, of agent to agent, I believe it's an open protocol. So it's not just Google specific. It's a protocol that Google built for agent to agent communication that you can use and extend upon, whether you're a Google Cloud customer or extend it to other agents. But even more so on the proprietary side, I believe they announced also there was an agent, not a playground, marketplace, where they actually wrote some of these complex logic. Like, I think they wrote the Salesforce connector, access to SharePoint, they wrote a lot of these. So if you are a native Google Cloud customer, you don't have to figure out how to build it. It's just kind of almost like Lego blocks. Kind of, I think, as Carl was mentioning, a lot of these things in these platforms, right? So definitely excited to see, because again, in the future, it's AI agents talking to agents, right? And figuring out how we get data from these platforms. So definitely huge.
Yeah, so one of the things that I'm excited about agent space is the ability for users to discover agents that were built by somebody else. Whether it's first party or third party agents, they will be discoverable there. And then at the end of the day, one of the things that caught my attention at Google Cloud Next 2025 is, for the first time, and I'm actually glad, the emphasis, the conversation was not about prompt engineering or specific models. It was really, the conversation moved towards tasks. Let's help users solve specific, discrete tasks. Because at the end of the day, the users should not care about how do I make this work. Like, it's a terrible user experience when we're putting so much burden on the user about how to write the perfect prompt, which model you need to use. There are like 25 different models now. So with agents, now users will come into our solutions thinking about, I need to complete this task. And that's what, to me, agentic AI enables. Moving away from where we were trapped last year, prompt engineering and all of that. That should be abstracted away from the user, I think.
Before today's session, actually, me and Wayne were talking about, and we didn't see it in the keynote here, but the developer keynote, there was a point where they used, essentially they wrote an initial prompt, I think it was they were remodeling their kitchen, but then at the end of it, the AI, the response was, and if you want to get better details, use this response and tell me to do more. And I believe like that's meta prompting, where essentially it's the AI telling you how to continue using it, and that is wickedly cool to see. Because again, what you put in is what you get out. If you send in one sentence like generate me an image, it'll do it, but no one knows what it will do. If you provide it, generate me an image that is majority red and it shows the skyline of Chicago for in the winter, maybe you'll get some snow, maybe you'll get some sun, you'll get some things. So again, it's all about it's really cool to see. So obviously, agents, agent to agent is really important, but I guess kind of shifting things back into the realm of where I think majority of us are. We're trying to adopt this, we're trying to do this. So Wayne, question for you. Data platforms, there's a lot to that. There's analytics that come with that. There's obviously the database component that you talked about it. Where have you seen whether it's query optimization, vector search, where else have you seen kind of AI in your world take hold?
One of the one second. I switched this off, so that's my fault.
Okay.
So one of the things I actually saw at Next that I really loved, and it was actually a looker analysis. And how many people have looked at a report, they see something wrong with it, and they're trying to scratch their head, why is that? And there was a cool feature where you just literally, just in a chatbot, just ask it a question on the fly. It's taking a look, it slices and dices the data. You can even open up a Jupyter notebook and it'll do some more analysis for you. And I was just imagine getting woken up at 3 o'clock in the morning and you're getting a page from PagerDuty and it says this is wrong. I used to hate those days, and thankfully I'm no longer on call. Well, technically I am, but I hate waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning. And half the problem is trying to work out what it is. Just being able to to say, hey, I got this alert. It's a little bit cryptic. I'm trying to understand what that is, and something just poops out in a few seconds later and gives you an avenue to start looking at.
Yeah.
I think that was huge for me.
Built on that too, I think I have some things to show too. Hopefully that. Kind of to that vein, do you remember the announcement from Cloud Assist Investigations?
Yes.
Where essentially, you mentioned earlier, so Wayne mentioned if you're not, so imagine you get woken up at 3 in the morning, you're on call, you're like, oh no, this is a Rust application. I've never programmed in Rust. But hey, there's an error that's here. You can go ahead and click explain this log entry and you'll get that summary. New, what's coming is a button called investigate. So what this actually does is actually pretty wicked. It looks at those log lines and takes it a step further. It looks at the context, it looks at the memory, it looks at restart events, it looks at failures, it looks at recent deployments, and generates observations that are kind of tertiarily surrounded to that. And seeing things like, hey, this log line was generated after a restart back off, and there was an out-of-memory error that occurred. And then even more importantly, it could give you a summary saying, hey, here's why I think this is happening. It seems like there's an out-of-memory error that's occurring within Kubernetes. To take it a step further, if you feel like, it'll also give you like a path of how to scale up and how to solve it, but if it truly feels that there's a support level issue, it'll auto-open the support case with the platform of your choice. So for those who are in Google Cloud, you have to open up a support ticket. The issue from this past Friday, imagine a world where we saw that event, you click investigate, it says, hey, critical error, I think you should open an incident, and it auto-opens and gets a P1 and starts engaging with your support engineers. That's a dream come true, especially at 3 o'clock in the morning. Fortunately, our stuff didn't happen at 3 o'clock, but it was also Friday, so I would have loved to have that.
Yes.
But no, totally. Seeing it implemented not only from, even the data analytics stuff is huge. I think that for me, Wayne always gives me some grief of my lack of query skills, but like being able to give BigQuery to like a business user, and again, not if you're some of the folks who are business users, a very complex join, it can do some pretty gnarly stuff just by giving it some prompts, saying, hey, I have these 2 data sets, get me these 2 fields and make a join. It'll actually write it for you. I believe that's with the BigQuery AI, right?
I mean, the BigQuery AI and just being able to generate models and SQL for you is huge. I think, last week a few of us were interviewing someone and we were talking about how you do testing. Who's got time for testing? I was like, well, I guess you didn't look at Google Cloud Next and all the things it can do there. I mean, it's just like, we're responsible for writing good code. Now you can just ask a bot to generate your test cases and data for you, and it's taking the hard work away from you.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think the next few years is, I think we briefly spoke about this too, it's really going to be the adoption of who is using AI effectively to empower them, right? The feeling I get is like, imagine someone in the modern era, like or prior era, when horses and cars, those things, cars, they'll never take off. My horse is good for 20 more years. And guess what? We're all driving cars nowadays. I don't think, unless someone here that has a horse. If someone has a horse, awesome. But yeah, it's just, you want to use the tool for the right job. And again, is it going to replace people? Who knows? But I think the big thing is the folks that leverage it as a tool in your tool belt are definitely going to be stronger engineers. Is it going to be perfect? No. We all know it hallucinates. It told me that there are things in GKE APIs that exist that, by the way, don't exist. It tries to be very good at fooling you too. But that being said, those who can discern and use it as a tool and say, no, that's wrong, you should look at this instead, will get a better answer back. So, kind of shifting gears again further up the stack, with Carl, we talked about, AI being cloud ready. Did you see any announcements from an infrastructure perspective that you were excited for that you can build upon? Like I believe, like I heard Cloud WAN, there's inference gateways. Is there anything specifically that you saw as like, oh, that's something I can probably use with somebody in the next year or so?
So I'll be honest, I didn't completely get GKE inference gateway yet because I haven't had a chance to look at it, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to be amazed by that. I think the thing that I saw was immediately applicable, sort of having a lot of non-AI customer work that we do, doing migrations and modernization of customers that are on-prem and bringing them into cloud. One of the biggest challenges we have is, how do I get my data and applications in the cloud? This is a nightmare, it takes forever. I don't want to go through all this effort. So one of the things I kind of liked was Cloud WAN is a fairly straightforward thing. I'll be honest, I'm a little amazed when we figured out how to do it because we had this idea like 8-10 years ago, but we were worried about being classified a telecom at the time. But the idea is you have a data center in Boston, and you have a data center in Las Vegas. Why buy a dedicated line when you can just have those 2 data centers talk across Google's network? And Google already has all the connects and has local POPs between the 2. So now you're doing database queries, you're doing replication, you're moving data from point A to point B, and that's coming across Google's backbone. From a infrastructure perspective, obviously with the customer's approval, because this isn't something we would do without talking to the customer. It's not that hard to redirect that data to a GCS bucket and then hydrate it into a database, or bring it into Cloud Spanner, or do other work with it. So if you're moving your business to using Cloud WAN, it becomes another step easier for us to look at potentially moving away from physical data centers into a full cloud environment. So to me, that's really exciting for a lot of our larger customers that are worried about, I don't want to do a 5-year migration to Google Cloud, and taking down my data centers and everything else is going to be a nightmare. I look at it now as we have another tool in the toolbox that we can say, okay, how about for the next year or two you use Cloud WAN, and then we'll come back and we'll talk to you about how much easier it is now that you're using us as a backbone to figure out how to flow your systems into leveraging Google Cloud. And it becomes much more transparent for hybrid operations or going cloud native.
Totally. I mean, even Cloud WAN, exciting announcement, because now you can start bringing in all those cross-cloud interconnects. You can bring in your regional dependencies. For those who, I don't know how many of you all use Google Cloud in your day-to-day. The thing to me that always blows my mind is go into Google Cloud, spin up a server in Tokyo, spin up a server in US Central. Then we're going to be able to talk. I challenge anyone from a data center perspective, or even from every other cloud provider starting to do this now too, but from just ability to talk across a petabit backbone, it's insane. It makes things like multi-region a reality. You don't have to be a hardcore telco, figure out how to do switch layer protocols. You just figure out, hey, I have 2 workloads and I put a load balancer in front of it. And if I get a request and you're coming from California, go to California. If you're coming from New York, go to New York. And it's just, it always blows my mind knowing, all the work, especially if you were in the data center and you racked and stacked servers before, oh, for me to do that, I have to go and actually put a network, put it on top of the rack, figure out how to load balance it, figure out how to do, it's just, even without Cloud WAN, and now with Cloud WAN being kind of that overarching of building that wide area network, I can definitely say from an enterprise perspective, I was super excited for it. I was also super excited for the 400 gig interconnect, but I don't think my boss, if he's in the room, will let me spill one of those up. I think, yeah, it's just crazy. Networking is becoming increasingly global, and the availability and resiliency of that tier is just awesome. So it's a fun time to be an architect, an infrastructure engineer as well. So kind of pivoting back kind of into like the world of AI. Nitin, question for you. Here we are, 2 weeks after Cloud Next, some of the conference highs wearing off, right? We start thinking about applied AI, and the question always goes, do we build something or do we buy something? So from your perspective, how do you do that balancing act of like using something off the shelf or building your own models? Where, how do you kind of evaluate that at an enterprise level? When is the right time to do that, like a build versus buy?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen this kind of question typically in the software engineering in general, right? And a lot of the kind of thumb rules apply for AI engineering as well. A lot of it is simply company culture, right? I worked at Amazon for a number of years. Everything by default is built, right? Same is the case, I'm sure, at Google and other companies as well. A lot of companies just over-index on building, and there are other companies. I worked at Staples where there was, there would be a kind of thorough debate on what we build and what we buy. And obviously, the areas which are really core differentiation, where you want to kind of sustain and continue to drive differentiation, that's going to continuously evolve, and you have kind of subject expertise. You want to kind of own it more end to end, and that's where build is the right answer. Versus other areas where it is your, let's say, either kind of catching up, or it is not your kind of core business, but it is more of a enabler. There again, depending on the ROI and the technologies and the right partner, buy is equally a right solution. To me, it is all about that ecosystem where you have the right set of technologies, the right set of partners, and the knowledge. And yes, think of again the full life cycle of AI-based software. Think of the full life cycle of total cost of ownership. I think same principles really generally apply here as well. So I.
No.
That's the question.
Yeah, I think so. I think the big thing, again, like you said, it's definitely finding the right partner, right? Again, especially if you're starting to implement anything when it comes into, large-scale enterprise systems as well. But I think it's fair. Right? It's fair to say, like, is this something that's truly custom to me, and only I know it better? Like, can I take an existing model and enhance upon it, or is this truly something that needs that level of focus? So, for example, I believe that we have one of the largest dental X-rays at our company. We have over 25 years of dental X-rays. Very hard to come by, especially when you think about medical industry. There's a lot of enhancements coming out now, but I think leveraging and figuring out where your expertise is, 100%. And it's really kind of understanding your case there too. So, I kind of have a question for JC, and it's not so much think about X-rays, but more in general. I'm talking about like sensitive data, and I'm talking about, we're talking about just adding AI and everything. So, how prominently were how prominent was like responsible AI and ethics and governance kind of mentioned during Next? Do you feel like you got a good sense of it? Do you think it's kind of just loosey-goosey, do whatever you want? And more importantly, like as in general, like how do you feel organizations should approach this? It's a very critical topic, especially when it comes to implementation. Responsible AI.
Good one. Good question. Good question. So one of the challenges that at least we've experienced is as we go about prioritizing these use cases where we see business value, bringing the right people to the table from privacy, legal, security, and being in a position to check all the boxes that they expect us to check. Last year was very challenging. This year, to me, the main takeaway from Next was the additional tooling that was announced for securing LLM or generative AI-based applications. The additional tooling that came out to make sure that we protect sensitive data or private data, and how those tools are fully integrated into the ecosystem. I'm expecting that it's going to make our life easier. Now, TBD, I can give you an update at the next, because we're just going to start deploying those solutions. We're just going to go and check in with our security team and our privacy team, and we're going to tell them we are deploying this new model armor, for example, to prevent malicious prompt injections, or we're going to be using Cloud DLP to make sure that we're preventing sensitive data to go into an LLM code, or we're going to be deploying to data residency to a new region because now we have supported across the EU or different regions. TBD, if that's going to be enough for my privacy team and my security team, but to answer your question more directly, responsible AI remains front and center. The additional tooling to me speaks volumes about how that's important. And if it was not because of that tooling, we will not have an easy way to build trust, transparency in our solutions. And if we don't build trust and transparency, I don't expect user adoption. So it remains a core issue.
Yeah, it's definitely something that just from we gotta remember that all this stuff is built upon data that we are providing to these systems, and we have to make sure that we as builders also are doing the right thing. It isn't just again, this is the very novice example of just dumping X-rays into ChatGPT with no regulatory thought. Right? It's actually understanding what models, who has access to this after the fact. Sure, it's anonymized, but you still gotta take care of that. This is someone's real data out there. Am I using this effectively, or am I just using this for a quick win? And I think that's definitely huge. But good to see that like model armor for like prompt protection and some of the things in Google are actually kind of being built into the platform. So do you feel good like about the current the path that they're on? Do you feel like they're following like they're addressing kind of some of the concerns you're seeing? And from an AI perspective,
From an AI perspective, yes. I guess the one thing that is kind of still nagging in the back of my head is how do we scale all these tools to protect our data, to make sure that we're building, again, trust and transparency, how do we scale that across all the teams working in AI? And how do we build awareness that working with AI is not just about sending data to an LLM, it's actually implementing that solution within a framework that guarantees or that is conducive to trust, transparency, and explainability. Because my experience, we usually get carried away by the potential and we get super excited, but then when we start thinking as an afterthought, oh, what about this regulation in
Europe?
Yeah. That's when things start to get difficult. And recommendation is make sure that from the get-go, you are making those considerations around security, privacy, transparency, trust, evaluations, all of that has to be baked from the get-go.
Yeah, and I think I have a question for Wayne, because I think a lot of this is founded in just very solid base principles, right? You know, everything that we're talking about, sure, AI promise, it's all founded based on, you know, good data governance, good data security, and ultimately cost controls. You know, from your perspective, you know, how do you see, you know, you've been in the industry for a long time. So from your perspective, what's kind of changing comparatively to, you know, with all this access to data, you know, at the end of the day? Do you see a big shift, or do you think it's really still just core principles?
That's a pretty loaded question. Not prepared for that one, but I would. Can everyone hear me?
Maybe pass the mic to somebody.
So I think overall, I think there are, a question I would pose is what consent did a customer give us in the first place to use that data, and making sure we're using it in a smart way that they understand. I would definitely say for anyone in this room, and if you're working with any kind of data, whether or not you're looking at new use cases or existing, it's just making sure that you have the right to use that data set for whatever specific reason you're looking at. So in the Aspen example, we have 25 years worth of x-rays. How many customers give us the consent to take a look at that data set and see whether or not we can use that to make the dental industry better by finding dental issues in that? That would be one. I could keep going on, but
I think it's a lot. I mean, to that point, it's, you know, it's protecting. You know, I guess, you know, putting it bluntly, it's still doing the right thing, right?
Yeah.
You know, do you just give everyone access to the database, or do we put controls in place to block that down? Do we just let anyone query anything in BigQuery? No, we give you kind of barriers of entry. How much can you do? At what point should you start thinking that maybe this shouldn't be on the laptop, and this should actually be something that's production ready?
Yeah, I would definitely say encrypt everything. Make sure you have people's consent. Make sure you leverage your legal team to make sure if you are going to be using this data for a specific reason, like they know you're using it, speak with the security team as well. I don't want people to think I'm downplaying innovation here, because I am one to make sure we innovate as much as possible, but you also can't take unnecessary risk, and when you neglect to do those things, then you end up with expensive lawsuits.
Yeah, 100%. So we're kind of wrapping up, getting close to the end here, but I know Logan was supposed to be here, so one of the things that he was going to be talking about was AI Studio. So if you haven't check out aistudio.google.com. It's definitely kind of the de facto way of, Gemini.google.com exists. It does a lot deep research. But if you're actually talking about how to build and extend, definitely check out AI Studio. Not only do they add functionality to generate deep thinking within there, but they also add the ability to generate videos and images. At a certain point, it does start costing money. I think there is a free tier 2. We use it to start, but if you start generating like 40-minute episodes of fake videos, it's probably gonna start costing you money, so just be warned. You may want to look at the terms and services here. But I mean, just you know, kind of going through just some quick announcement here. Like, I mean, they briefly talked about like VL2 and actually generating like real world example like videos on the fly. So while these folks were presenting, I was busy at work just kind of generating some, hopefully not nightmare fuel. So I asked VL2, so generate me a video of an event of amazing people attending a meetup called Google Cloud Next Extended in Chicago. I have no idea what we're about to see, so let's see. So this is a video that was generated purely by that prompt alone. I can see the Google logo on this person's badge. I can see them communicating and talking. I can see some slideshows in the back. Kind of cool, again, just from a very simple perspective on this. I mean, we can also see, I think this is also downtown Chicago. Oh yeah, that is downtown Chicago, look at that. It looks very familiar. Folks walking in, smiling.
With the Google G on the door as they walked in. There was the Google G on the door as they walked in.
I didn't see that. Let's see. Yeah, the crazy thing is, oh yeah, the G was on the door for a split second there. Yeah, let's see what this one has. Cool. Some folks talking. Let's see. Learning. Yeah. Networking. Like you guys were all earlier. All you folks were earlier. So folks joining in. Again, there's. I don't know what to say. There's something. So let me just be very clear. It's only as good as what you put in. I tried to generate a commercial with dentures. And it knew that dentures go in your mouth, but at one point it tried to put it in the person's eyes. So that it had dentures of someone talking like this. And let me tell you, that is not what I wanted to see at 2 o'clock in the morning. There's horror movies out there, and then there's that. So again, it's what you put in, it's what you get out. So no, playing around with these VL2 is actually pretty cool to see. And again, that's part of the advantage of Gemini. Gemini's model is multimodal, so it's not only just text, it can also do images, it can also do videos, and it can extend upon that too.
Don't forget music.
Huh?
Don't forget music.
It can do music too. In fact, if anyone attended Cloud Next last year, or was it I/O? I was at I/O Extended. I used a AI agent or AI music effects to generate music on the fly and DJ for the crowd here, very similar to what Wayne did. In fact, I think there were Google employees who were the DJ, so they saved a lot of money on not having to have a DJ there. So that was kind of cool. Let me see. We talked about this. We briefly talked, Carl briefly mentioned it, inference tools. That's for me, I'm a Kubernetes person, so for me, my world is like, all right, LLMs and these folks are all doing AI models and architectures, and now where do I sit in this? Like, for me, it's all about, hey, I have a website and I have a path/completion. It's a matter of how to load balance requests from a chatbot to say, hey, this should go to Gemma 3, or this should go to DeepSeek. And then that is kind of back in my land of application load balancing. I'm like, oh, cool. We have 2 models generated by Carl Nitin here. I can have them both on the same path, but maybe certain contexts are better for this model, and I'm going to send it to the Gemma model, and maybe this text prompt, I'm going to send it to the DeepSeek model, because I'm going to give it that inference at that application load balancer. So kind of showing that you can have like it's like a generative AI team, and you can have like multiple models in a pool that inference like how to send that traffic out there. So you can see like there's a chatbot, and for recommendations, use DeepSeek instead. So kind of a high level out there on what inference gateway was, but it's definitely cool to see that it's now built into the platform. I saw this at KubeCon be very popular within like open source models, but now it's also like for folks that are in the platform, it's built into like application load balancers too. So I guess in closing, anything to take away, just kind of going down that you see or you want to share. Any final takeaways? Maybe just starting with who has the mic right now, JC, and then just pass it down.
My biggest recommendation is please spend some time learning to do your evals. Spend some time learning how the tooling that comes with Google for evals, and also Google kind of open arm policy to work with other eval platform providers is also really good. You will find in the marketplace a ton of different options for advanced evaluations. The reason I'm hammering this down so much is because for the last year, my team for the use cases that we have not been able to resolve, we realized that when we got better with evals, we were able to take it to the next step. So that's my recommendation. That's my opinion.
I think my main takeaway for everyone is whether or not you are dealing with x-rays, or you want some music, or you are looking at a database, or whether or not you want to look at how to optimize your SQL query, there's definitely an AI solution out there for you. I mean, I had a bet with one of my past colleagues on how many times AI would be mentioned during the conference in the keynote. I think I got up to 900 and something before I lost count. But there's definitely a lot of great options out there, and I mean, my wife and mother-in-law, they work in copywriting, and they've been saying AI is hurting them so much. And so I managed to convince my 76-year-old mother-in-law, she now has a monthly subscription to ChatGPT, because she's now seen the benefit of how you can use a tool to make your life better. It's just how you use it.
Yeah. Huge.
All right, so I'm going to ask a question of the audience for anyone that watched Next. Did any of you hear the Wizard of Oz announcement from Next?
Oh, so cool. Yes. Yeah, one, yes.
Anybody else? So one of the things that Google Professional Services and Engineering worked on was taking the Wizard of Oz and scaling it up to 16,000K for display on the Sphere. And it'll be publicly available at the end of August. They had a semi-private showing of part of it on the Tuesday before Next. I can't tell you how awesomely excited I am about all of the AI and all of the computational photography that went into that, because it's not a matter of taking a regular photo and blowing it up to 16,000K. They extended the scenes where it's like the scenes that are now in the movie are like 3 times wider than the original. And they used AI to go, where are all these characters? And it generated all of the extra data of putting the characters into the scenes. 24 frames a second for, I think it's a 121-minute movie. It took like 15 months and a team of Google engineers and Sphere engineers, but it's absolutely amazing to see what we can do with something that's a classic like that. And it shows so many awesome AI techniques of sort of Gen AI plus upscaling, on-the-fly editing, and a lot of other capabilities that are really awesome. So if you get a chance and you're like me, I'll probably be flying to Vegas to watch Wizard of Oz sometime in September.
So I do have a sneak peek. I don't know if I can show this or not, but I'm gonna show it anyways. So this is the Wizard of Oz, as you all know it, in the Sphere. So big screen. You're like, oh, hey Carl, that's really advanced. Let's see. Boom. That is all extended past. That is a almost 360-degree view, filling in context of the sky, the trees. Afraid of the person walking down. Again, I'm in the crowd. But like, you can see that like the horse in that frame, the dog, and the extended past, the trees. They talked about like the scarecrow walking down the golden road, knowing that, oh, at a certain point, he's gonna walk into the frame. So why not just show him like walking in, like from the corner of your eye into the big picture, the dog, again, and not only just the external frames, but also the quality of it. You know, I can guarantee that the video did not look that good. So, again, I was super excited to see that too. And then Nitin, let's wrap it.
Yeah, I started my career actually in the decision optimization space. You can think of it as like a very narrow version of AI. It's a couple of decades later, this agentic AI feels like a real decision intelligence systems that we'll be building, right? We'll be living in a world consisting of humans and agents, right? Imagine people are shopping and you have some digital versions where you are kind of outsourcing certain work that you don't want to spend your time, right? So this is what is going to be happening over the coming years, and the technology is there. So it's a very exciting time, and I think it's all about us being very open-minded, very curious, and learn, and I think there are a lot of possibilities.
So with that, let's give a round of applause for our generating some music and to kind of continue getting out of here. Let's see what it actually generates. This is kind of anticlimactic. Hopefully this actually doesn't fail on me. So
Let's hope Central 1 doesn't run out of capacity.
Huh?
Let's hope Central 1 doesn't.
Let's hope Central 1 doesn't run out of capacity. Yeah, I agree. Let's see. It's generating me my electro disco instrumental with keyboards in the background. I found this as a crowd. Think about that a little bit. So there you go. Hey, thank you so much for coming out, everybody. It's a pleasure. Thank you so much for being out. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right, y'all. Thank you. Feel free to network for a little bit, and we'll be out of here soon.
I thought the Wizard of Oz was I thought the release was in a